Welcome to Opinion Havers, a movie podcast for men in cargo shorts. I'm Cody.
And I'm Tyler.
Tyler, what did we watch?
Cody, we watched Paddleton. I watched You Remembered, all right? I don't know. There's no way you rewatched this movie for this, all right? That's what I'm saying.
Tyler,
you watched
this is where you're so dumb and so wrong, is that I rewatched this before I even knew that you had watched it, all right? That's the level I'm operating at. I watched 30 minutes of it in a bath, and then I finished it in my home theater, all right? That's where I'm out here. You're living in the year 2000 late, and I'm here in the year 2008, all right? Fergie and I, we're here, and we're doing it.
You know what? Fine. I'll have you know, Cody, I just stared at the machine and the device, and I couldn't honestly remember which one was yours and which one was mine. And that tells you how long it's been since we've done a Cody's Corner of these. Tyler's Trash.
Yeah. Oh,
hey,
man.
Cody, I'm going to need you to vamp for a second. I need to sit. I don't know if you can tell. I'm slouched so low.
Yeah, you are.
Sit
up,
now
that you mention it, you are.
I'm like,
I would describe you as scrunched
I gotta
down.
sit up. All right. So I'm going to mute my mic.
Yeah.
Just you vamp. You vamp. Tell them about this depressing movie.
Yeah, I'll give a little synopsis. Let me tell you, it's about an unlikely friendship of two awkward dudes, and one of them, you know, it's hard to say if this is a spoiler because it's the first scene in the movie. He gets a cancer diagnosis. Two awkward boys, two awkward adult men, really. And, you know, you get to see how they tackle their big challenge. And that's really what it's about, you know? And look, you're going to be out of here and you're going to tell me that, no, this is just Paddington, right? No, it is not Paddington. The bane of my existence, you know, when you're into something and you're like, you should watch this movie, but it sounds like another movie. I hate it. You know what I'm saying? I tell people all the time, Paddleton, it's a great movie. And they're like, yeah, Paddington, I liked that one. I was like, I've never seen Paddington and I have nothing against it, but why did they make this movie sound so much like that? Paddleton.
Magnets, right?
Ugh, it's so hard, Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, Tiffany got very excited when I said Paddleton, and I was like, nope, not Paddington, Paddleton. She's like, what is it?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not for the Paddington fans, but look, Paddington has been sitting on my watch list for about 3 years now, and we're going to get to it, but not before I rewatch Paddleton again. And let me give you my hot take on this movie. You know, I love it. I love this movie. It was my recommendation that we watch it. It is in the device. I think the device is mine. I think the machine is yours. So it's in the device for a reason. It's a goodie. I love this movie. And, you know, I've got a type. When it comes to movies that I love, I've got a type. It's an indie movie. And anytime in the description it says an unlikely friendship, it's like, oh, darn it, I'm going to like that, you know? And it's such a stupid way to describe, because really, let's talk about this movie, an unlikely friendship. Two people live next to each other that are both awkward and they're friends. You know, it's like, how unlikely is that? You know, you live next to someone, you're the same age demographic, you dress the same. How are you not, you know, how you're going to make friends at some point. Anyway, Tyler, what's your quick take on this movie?
My quick take, if I were to sum up this movie, I would say this is a Cody movie 100%. As I was watching it, I was like, all right, so this movie is going to, like, as we were going through, you know, as we're sitting there, as we're watching, as it's building tension, it's taking twists, it's taking turns. And I was like, none of these twists are going to pay off. Nothing's going to happen. The exact thing that is set up at the very first moment is going to be what happens in the end. And they're going to act like, oh my God, it is amazing. And I'm like, Cody loves this movie. This is definitely, like, if you had never seen this movie and I had just, like, happened upon it on Netflix, I would have called you in the middle of the night to be like, Cody, you need to stop what you're doing. Wake up, watch the movie. Because it's like the epitome of a Cody movie, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
All it's missing is the barbed wire, Cody. And what's her face that you like so much?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Seafried.
But yeah, I do love a good barbed wire movie. You know what I'm saying? I love it. Whenever they whip out the barbed wire, I'm like, this is a Cody movie too. Unlikely friendships and barbed wire are kind of the two things I've got the market cornered on.
Cody, you're never going to live down this, like, barbed wire makeout scene in this movie I will. Here's the thing. Here's the curtain, Cody. I'm going to part it. I'm going to let him see the wizard. Cody hated that movie. I don't even remember what it was. I just want everybody to make it very clear you did not like that movie, right?
Yeah.
Is it fair to say you hated it?
No, I didn't hate it. It was,
so now you're defending it. So
it was the kind of movie where you watch it and you're like, I didn't like that. I won't say it was bad. You know what? Let's call it interesting, you know?
Oh, like I did with Her, but I did say it was bad. But I also said it was good for, I have you know, even when I didn't like Her and I said it was a terrible movie, I recommended it more than probably any other movie I've ever seen to other people.
Wow.
So how dare you slander my name, Cody?
Oh, man. So wait, all I heard from your quick take was that this was a Cody movie. Is that?
It is a Cody movie. So,
did you like it? Did you not like it?
It was fun. I could have done with 13%. I was going to say 20, but that's been too much. I could have done with 13% more fun.
Oh, yeah.
The comedy, calling this a comedy is a stretch. I feel like there's a lot of like these indie comedies nowadays, Cody, where they're like, it's a comedy, but it's like, it's two normal people acting normal around each other. And you're supposed to be like, it's funny because it's awkward. It's like, no, as a normal conversation to have. It's not like a comedy. You didn't write a funny piece of dialogue. You just have two friends sitting in silence. Or like, oh, your oven burned the pizza. It's like, that's not really a funny thing. It's like, but it's supposed to be funny, but it's like, that's like a typical hangout sesh, Cody.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, you can say this wasn't funny, but I will tell you, Kaylin and I giggled quite a lot. I watched this movie back when Kaylin was still my roommate. Let me tell you, we laughed a lot, and I think this movie is very funny, but I get what you're saying, right? I wouldn't call it like a hard comedy by any means, but it is. Look, my favorite movies are funny, but they're not comedies. You know what I'm saying? Like that's right down my lane. But
tell me if this
I don't want to.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Tell me if this makes sense to you. I feel like this is a movie that deserved to be made. I think it's a good movie. I did like it. I enjoyed it. I don't know if it's a movie I'd like. It's not one I'm bringing to the party. You know what I'm saying? But it's one I liked watching. I would recommend it to other people
party
that
movie.
Want.
Yeah.
Especially people that are like, I want something different than the big blockbuster movies. It is a movie that this exists because of this like space made by Netflix and HBO, like the streaming services. This wouldn't, I think, be a movie that could have really been made, or it wouldn't have been successful outside of that.
It's not,
but
it doesn't quite have the draw of like a Sundance indie movie, but as a streamer movie where it's like, hey, we'll give you $6 million and you buddy up with someone and, make this really cheap, easy to make movie.
Yeah, because I feel like it's not like indie or edgy enough to win any Sundance awards. But it's a good movie.
Which is like a problem I have, because sometimes I watch a movie and I'm like, that was just like a good movie, simple, well executed. I enjoyed it a lot. But it's like, because it isn't avant-garde, it's not going to the Oscars, or it's not even getting like the film festival, the little ribbons, they put on the movie poster where it's like, look, we got a little Sundance ribbon, we got a little Venice ribbon, we got a little Cannes ribbon, and it says we were at the film festival and people liked it,
Yeah. It's a movie where there's one thing, happening,
Yeah.
And it's like,
I'll take it. Simple, effective. Look, I just need me an unlikely friendship. And if there's barbed wire, even better. And if not, I'll still like it, Yeah.
I know Tiffany's,
but like this very much falls into the category of movies like Harold and Maude and Dean and a couple other Duplass Brothers movies like Blue Jay and Safety Not Guaranteed. I think they all lump together in this a little bit. Even Manchester by the Sea, although that's like a hard drama, much harder of a drama. Anyway, I like it. I like it all. I like this very simple character study kind of thing where it's like, check out this dude, let's peer into let's watch him eat a sandwich. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's where I'm at. I liked it. So you liked it a bit, Yeah.
I
loved it, but
I think
you thought it was good.
I liked it. I also felt it was, along with that, it being streaming, the length of it and everything, I feel like so often now, even indie movies in the theater, it's like, if you're not over 2 hours, it feels like they're like, you get looked down upon. But streaming movies that are like 90 minutes, perfect.
Well, that's the other thing. When I opened up this movie, I was like, how long is it? I was like, 90 minutes. Oh, lovely. I love to pop off a 90-minute movie, and it's simple, straightforward, simple and effective. But, Like, what was Blonde? I didn't see Blonde, but Blonde was like a 3-hour movie or something. And it's like super heavy and, very intense. So it's just like, not that I wouldn't put in the time to watch that. But when you tell me there's a movie like this, that like, hey, you'll get a few laughs. It's got an interesting premise. It's got some good actors in it, but it's only 90 minutes. Like, oh yeah, I'll commit to that for sure. It was delightful. What a delightful way to spend 90 minutes for me,
Yeah, it was. I watched it with Tiffany. She liked it. We both enjoyed it, which I was like, once it kicked off and the premise was really laid out, I was like, well, is Tiffany going to be on a hand? Is this going to be all right?
Bailey worked yesterday, which is when I popped this one off. And I did really want to watch it with her, but I just didn't have the time. And also, like, I'm like 80% sure she's not going to like it at all. Like, it's not her thing.
Mm.
But I want her to see it because it's one of those movies where I was like, this is great. This is right up, if I have to watch Grease 2 for Bailey, she can sit through 90 minutes. If I have to watch a 2-hour Grease 2, she can sit through 90 minutes of Paddleton. You know what I'm saying?
Dare you, Grease 2? It's not that bad. It's just bad,
Man, well, look, that's all I've got to say to tee it up. And I got to get down and dirty into the details with you.
Yeah,
I need your consent.
I'm ready. I'm ready to get into it. I'm trying to open my stopwatch, and I gotta tell you, there it is. It's coming. It wasn't wanting to, but it's there now. Oh, it's there. All right. I'm guessing you want to go first. That's what it sounds like to me.
Oh, I mean,
wait, Cody? Do you want to hop in my 80s compact sedan?
Mm-hmm.
And just cruise on down to Spoilershire, USA.
Oh yeah. And I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Get in there, Cody.
Here I go.
Pop off.
Tyler, let's talk about this. That Nissan car from like the late 80s, early 90s. There's 2 types of cars I saw in Mexico. Well, really 3. Every taxi was either like an early 90s Mazda, Toyota, or Nissan. That was all they had. It was like the same car from the same year, just cruising, running on 600,000 miles. Just, you feel like the seat's about to fall out of the car, but it's still running. It's still kicking. So yeah, there you go. That's what they're driving. Let me talk about this. This is something you maybe didn't think about when you watched this movie. It is almost all I thought about watching it for the second time. This may be the greatest achievement in costume design I've ever seen in a movie. It was so good. You go out here, yeah, you could do a period piece and show off their costumes. In this one, you see the cargo shorts and you immediately know, oh, these dudes are dorks and they have no social skills. And that is the whole point. You know what I'm saying? They're in, weird vests, cargo shorts, tall socks, and it worked so well. If the point of the costume is to give you insights into the character, it painted a beautiful tapestry. Okay. That's what I'm saying. No one's going to spit truth about the costume game of Paddleton, but I'm out here to do it justice. Okay. I'm going to tell you, it's a simple but effective movie, right? It's a simple premise. You got a couple dorky sad boys, but they made friends. All right. And that's all you need in life. You just need a couple friends, maybe a little family if your family doesn't suck. And that's all you really need. And it was so sweet of them to find each other, but it also sucks because it starts off and it's like, anyway, you're dying. That's how it starts. It's like cancer. You got to figure out what it is. But I just love the banter of the movie of Ray Romano and Mark Duplass. Like, even when it starts and they're talking to the doctor, he's like, he starts the movie. He's like, all right, I'm going to say a statement and you don't have to, if it's right, don't correct me, but if it's wrong, do correct me, And he starts, asks a question to start. He's like, no, that's a question, I thought, what a great way to set a tone of the movie, because it is funny, but it's also very real because they're talking about cancer, and I thought it was a great way to kick off the movie and be like, hey, here's the vibe we're going for, It's one of those movies you watch the first 10 minutes and like, oh yeah, I should either turn this off or I should keep watching, And for me, I was like, I need more of it. All right. That's all I need. And I'll spoil it for you. I cried. I sat here alone watching this movie. I cried at the ending. I think I cried the first time too. But if it makes me laugh and makes me cry, then that's about as good as it's going to get. I thought it was a great one. Okay. The Duplass brothers, I'm all about it. I haven't seen all their movies, but I've seen 3 of them I mentioned. They've also done Creep, which is supposed to be good. I'm probably going to get through all of them because 2 of them have been like some of my favorite movies ever. And the other one that wasn't, I was like, this is still really good. Like, I really enjoyed it. So definitely recommend you check out at least one of theirs. Blue Jays like a much sadder, more romantic version of this. Safety Not Guaranteed is a much more upbeat, kind of fun one. So anyway, if you thought anything about this movie positive, maybe check out those ones too. I also think, at the end of the day, I thought it was a funny movie. It gets real sad because Mark Duplass dies, and his friend is there for him, which is just, I think it's an interesting premise. But I feel like the end, it didn't just end on that note. At the end of the movie, he meets the new neighbors, still an awkward dude, but like, you feel like he's going to be all right. He's going to get by still. So I really like that, because they set the premise of the movie like, hey, someone's going to die at the end. It's going to be sad. And they, like you said, they go through with it, but they don't just end it there, because they could have gone a very different vibe with this movie. It could have been just like depressing. And then maybe they have a heartfelt moment. Then he dies. And then you're like, doesn't that suck? Why don't you just sit in your sadness for a while? But really, it's like, no, he's going to be okay, So I really like that. I thought that was a nice touch, a nice little chef's kiss at the end. Tyler, this is the movie that introduced me to Solvang, California. I think it's where you need to live. It's the land of your people. It's like your people came and they set up a tourist trap in California, and your dad's from California, and your people, your ancestry are from the Nordics, and it feels right to me, Tyler, why aren't you going to move there? Why aren't you talking to me? I need you to uproot your life and move to Solvang, please. And thank you. Okay. You know what the saddest part of the movie was, except for the death? He doesn't sex the motel lady. Oh, the motel lady with her ghost husband. I mean, what's hotter than that? Hanging out in the hot tub with some lady and her dead ghost husband. What's up with that?
Cody, I'm gonna have to cut you off talking about the ghost husband sex, and I'm gonna have to. Why did I close out of the clock? That's the real question.
Oh, Tyler.
Why did I hit the X?
Tyler, Cody, I will be your clock.
I've got it back, Cody. Just shush now. It's my turn. All right, Cody. This movie. Let's talk about Solvang. All right. Not only have I not moved to Solvang, Tiffany has now learned of it. Has now begun planning a trip and wants to live there forever. Okay. But here's the thing. All right. You and her, you're out here being like, oh my gosh, it's like the homeland. It's Danish. All right. Not only am I not Danish, Cody, how dare you? Okay. My culture, my ancestors didn't make windmills. They made death and the flower festivals with the little ribbons going around the pole. All right, that's what they did. Okay, so let's and they paint their houses bright colors. Here's the real question, Cody. Why are you so much of a coward that you just have your house painted white? Why won't you paint it, green, yellow, orange? Why are you a coward? Right? You ain't got no HOA. There's no way. All right. I've been down that street. If there's an HOA, those people, if you pay, Cody, give me a nod. Do you pay HOA fees? Okay, I've met these people. They live out in the middle of nowhere sometimes. And they're like, oh yeah, we pay our $80 HOA fee. I'm like, someone just sends you a bill. Some random guy just sends everyone a bill to see who's dumb enough to pay it, and you're dumb enough to pay it. You're getting nothing for it. It's like, oh, do they do your anything? No, nothing. Because you live in the middle of nowhere on a farm. There's no HOA I'm telling you right now, wherever you live, your HOA is fake. Don't pay the HOA fees. They really can't do anything if you don't pay it. You can get your own. You don't need that pool. You don't need the pool. And you can get your own trash people. You can get your own trash. You can do it. It's fine. Just don't pay them. You don't need them in your life. Just get rid of them. They're just taking your money and they're buying drugs and they're moving to Solvang. All right. So just, Cody, you don't need that. All right. Cody, they're 6 hours away from Solvang. So where were they in this movie? All right. Where are they? Middle of nowhere. They're in Victorville. That's where they live. Okay. That's why I imagine Victorville looking like, except it's a little too green. Here's the thing. I love these guys. I love these 2 boys. They're 2 sweet boys. They're out here. I thought the whole thing was going to be them becoming friends. I thought this was going to be set up like A Walk to Remember, right? You know, where it's like, he's like, oh, we'll hang out. Well, I'll teach you Paddleton, but there's one condition. You can't fall in love with me. All right. You know, and then they fall in love. They become best friends forever because now he's dying of cancer. I spent the whole movie like, oh my gosh, what do I know Mark Duplass from? For everybody who watches this and is like, The League. That's what you know him from. I answered it. You're welcome. Moving on. The movie, Cody, is like, there's so many times they do so many times where they're like, oh my gosh, he's dead. And that's one of the few moments where I'm like, oh, this is a comedy, right? Where he like constantly thinks he's dead. And I'm like, are they going to do that? Will they do it to me? They will. And I'm just like, about, who knows, maybe 45 minutes in the movie, I was like, he's definitely going to die at the end of this movie. And nothing, like, he's going to do it exactly how they set out to do it. It's going to be very well telegraphed. It's all going to go exactly as planned, and he's just going to die. Or he's going to go to do it. He's going to, they're going to make this big emotional moment. This is the only two ways I saw this going. Okay. He's going to take the liquid, the poison, if you will. And then the phone's going to ring and the doctor's going to be like, oh yeah, there was a smudge on the CT machine. They were going to go that route. And I was like, those are the only two possible routes here. Okay. And they went the other one. They went the dead one. So here's my real question, Cody. You know, like here, I was spent most of it like most. I feel like dudes watching this movie and they're like, would I babysit my best friend as he suicided himself? And I was like, I don't know, you know. But here's the thing, Cody. You know, would I if he was this weird? You know, probably not. I'd be like, nah, you know, I'm not out here, because here's the thing. So many of my friends would call the police and be like, oh man, you know, they would be like, yeah, I called the authorities and notified them, so they know what's going on. But in reality, like, they're going to play the transcript of what he did, what he said. And it's like, hey, I'm really scared of my neighbor. And he says he's planning on doing something on this day at this time. Can you come by and just check on me? You know, that'd be awesome. And that's what he would say to him. And so I'm sitting there like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. But then they show up. I'm on the ground. I'm slammed down on a hood. They're taking me to jail. I'm going away for a long time.
Tyler, I'm going to have to cut you off right there, right as you're going to jail. That's a good place to stop, I think. I mean, there is like the very interesting moral question of like, you know, euthanizing yourself to death, but also like being implicated in it, you know? Very interesting, you know? So you ask yourself the question, would you do it? What if I asked you, you know, if I asked you like, hey, I got 3 months to live. I need to murder myself and I need you to help me. You know, empty out the pills into the water and watch me drink it.
I'll be real with you, good, because I thought about this. I was like, we got to cover this. We've got to do it. The movie covered it. We got to cover it. All right. We're here. We're adults. We're professionals. Would I help you suicide yourself medically as prescribed by a doctor where it's approved? Yeah. If you're just like, I want you to kill me. No, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to jail because you don't want to spend some time in a hospital. F you.
Yeah.
But if it's like everybody's on board, you're just taking 100 sleeping pills, probably. I don't know. You know what I was like, I mean, probably. Here's the thing. Yeah. I'm way too like calm around death and at funerals and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's losing it, and I look like I'm a freaking monster because I'm usually I like lose it once or twice. When I'm like, oh man, I never get to see that person again. But then it's like, I'm fine. So I don't know if you'd want me there, Cody. I'd be like, let's get this done. Let's get this moving. Right, I got plans this evening.
You're thirsty? Take the drink. Come on. Yeah.
I'd be slipping the pills into your drink before you're ready for it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
man, I know you said this movie isn't a comedy, but I thought it was hilarious. They're like working on the pills, and he's like, you know, like 100 of anything would kill you, right? You know, like, I don't know. I liked all the commentary they made as they're doing it. And I will say too, there was like a great fake out moment, you know, when he's holding the glass, you know, Ray Romano has the glass and Mark Duplass takes the glass and he's like, I don't know if I can do it. It's like, yeah, it's okay. And he sets the glass down. You're like, oh, he's not going to do it. And then he like exhales, grabs the glass, and then takes the swig, you know? I don't know. I mean, I think this movie's great in that all those beats work super well. And like even seeing Ray Romano, you know, in that moment, you see him take the breath of like, oh, okay, he's not going to do it. Like, okay, cool. You know, I don't know. I thought it was well acted and very well done. Let's talk. Well, you mentioned the HOA thing. Let me tell you, here's what the HOA does for you. You pay them a bunch of money. They do nothing for you except roll up and be like, by the way, you're not allowed to do that. Especially those like country HOAs. It's pretty awesome to be like, what are you doing for me? Nothing. Anyway, your fence is too tall. See you later. It's like, screw you. So there you go. And you said Victorville. How dare you? Is there an ostrich farm very close to Victorville? Yes. So, you know, maybe it's not that far off, but like the Dirty Jobs guy went to the ostrich farm. That's like 20 minutes from my house. So yeah, I mean, you know, you're not wrong, but you're wrong. All right. Not nearly enough dirt. All right. Not enough sand. They're out here. They got trees. All right. We don't have those where I'm from. All right. We got dirt and we got cacti. All right. We got yucca variety plants, got creosote bushes. Tyler, what do you even know about creosote bushes? You don't know nothing. All right. So there you go. Yeah, it could have been filmed in Victorville. We got old abandoned, you know, billboards and stuff. I've seen a couple of those. All right. Look, I'm going to dispute you. All right. You saying this movie isn't a comedy? Here's the thing. This movie is very funny in the same way that like Seinfeld is really funny. Like if you don't like the humor of Seinfeld, which is all about like comedians kind of like just talking about nonsense, you know, like little observations and stuff. For me, that's like pure comedy. For Bailey, it is so boring and she hates it, you know? But I love Seinfeld. Okay, let's talk about this. How many wishes would a genie have to give you for you to have a wish that's just sand off, you know? Every grain of sand from your body just disappears.
See,
I love that whole
California
conversation.
question.
It's right? So good.
It's a good one. Like if you go to the beach regularly, or you're in like the desert where there's sand, you grew up in a desert environment, right?
Yeah.
Sand was an issue, I'm guessing. Got everywhere. Got in everything.
I mean,
it's rough.
The beach, 100%. Sand in your eye, 100%. I mean, yeah, dirt in your eye from like just the wind blowing dirt around in the desert, the worst. Yeah. That's a problem.
So
I mean, would you do it? What would you do? I mean, what does he say? Like 10? He's like, you can't think of 9 better things than sand off. I don't think I could. That's a pretty good wish. I don't know. For me, that conversation's so funny. And at the end, he's like, I guess also pajamas on. So sand off, pajamas on. That's all you need, you know?
Let me just tell you, I pulled up the episode too. I don't like sand. He says it's coarse, rough, and irritating. That's just 3 synonyms, right?
It's coarse and rough. Well, you're saying
which
those words
I always
go
to say it's coarse, rough, and I'm like, no, that's stupid. He doesn't say coarse and rough. He says one of those two.
He says it gets everywhere. It does, you know? It does get everywhere.
Yeah, but not on Naboo. Everything there is soft and smooth, okay? Let's talk. Cody, he is smooth, all right? And George Lucas just doesn't know how to write a love story, all right? I'll say it. I've said it a million times. You know, everybody go listen to my episode 2 rant, okay? Because I think the love story is fine, but it's written poorly. And why do they have a CG pair? Anyway, Paddleton, there's so few Paddleton matches, Cody.
Yeah, not enough Paddleton. But hold on, I'm not done talking about how funny this movie is.
Okay,
let me give you a couple more. They go to the ostrich farm. Ray Romano doesn't go. They get there, and he's like, you know, they're the fastest land animal. He's like,
is that true?
They run like 45 miles an hour, you know? And Mark is like, don't cheetahs run like 60 or 65? He's like, yeah, but like per leg. They only have 2 legs. So per leg, they're way faster. I was like, that's like a really good point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'll have you know the fastest land animal is a peregrine falcon. According to Google.
Fastest land animal.
That's why I Googled fastest land animal. So, think you're smarter than Google?
I guess it does go to the land. I mean, fastest land animal is probably a beached whale, right? Isn't that the largest land animal? If the whale's beached, isn't a whale bigger than an elephant? So,
but they don't go. Whales they're not very fast.
Oh yeah. But I'm saying, wouldn't it beat out elephant in size?
Yeah. but not
So the elephant's
fastness.
like a sham. The elephant isn't it, you know? They're not the biggest. The beached whale is the largest land animal. There's also like they're at the pharmacy and he's going to buy his medicine. It's like $3,000. And he's like, hey, I want to do it. I want to buy it. You know, and they go through the whole thing and he swipes his card. It's declined like 3 times. I thought it was so funny. It was so good.
Have you ever, okay, let's talk about this, Cody. Have you ever been there in that kind of situation? You're on a trip with your buds and you're like, no, guys, I got this. All right. Swipe it, declined. You're like, I know for a fact there is at least 1 comma in this bank account number.
Mhm.
There's no way $15 of McDonald's is declined. And then it's like, you got to get with the fraud department. But then sometimes they're like, they're like, hey, is this you? And you text Y and they're like, cool. Every single thing is approved on your account now. It doesn't matter what. And then sometimes they're like, we need you to jump through we need you to basically get like top secret level security clearance to clear this.
I haven't had it happen lately, but I was with my parents. We were in Utah and they went to buy something and they got declined. They were like, we saw this activity. You guys are in Utah. We know you never leave California. And they're like, we are here. Yeah. But yeah, it hasn't happened for me in a while, but it's great. And that's the other thing is his card doesn't work there. And then he goes back later to buy a little kitty safe to put the medicine in. And he's like, cash or charge? He's like, cash. It's a funny movie. All right.
There are funny moments. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, it's not like, I think it's a kind of movie where the funny stuff is like the kind of stuff when you're telling a story about a trip you had and it's like, oh, this is a funny trip.
Mm-hmm.
Not the kind of things where you're like, I saw a funny movie and you tell them someone.
It's not playing for comedy ever. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just using it is not even playing up awkward comedy. It's just like, no, these are just normal funny moments that happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what's interesting about this is I think this one might be a little different. I think in general, with the Duplass brothers movies, they don't write like hard dialogue really. What they do is they'll outline a scene and be like, okay, this is kind of what we're going to talk about. And they just let the conversation go, which when you're working with Mark Duplass and like a comedian like Ray Romano, you can get really good stuff out of that, like good improvisers. So that's what I kind of like about this movie because that's kind of humor I enjoy. So for me, I'm like, oh, this is actually like, you have to get the right actors involved, but it can make for a really great scene. And the dialogue, as awkward as they are, it does still feel like really natural. There's a really natural rhythm to the way they speak.
Yeah, they seem like they're like friends, like normal.
Yeah.
Friends.
So I really liked that aspect of it. It actually comes up later because so in the death scene, and it's funny because I checked the trivia on this movie and I had like nothing, but I swear I read this back when I first saw this movie. Maybe I just saw an interview about it or something. Anyway, at the end of the movie, they're like, okay, so Mark's going to die. You're going to sit there. It's just an improvised scene kind of thing. Like, and then, do whatever feels right or whatever. So they do the scene and they kept having to do all these takes. And he's like, you got to leave frame. Mark is holding his breath for real. And he's like coming out of every scene, almost dying from holding his breath too long. He's like, he didn't realize he was like supposed to leave, which is kind of when you watch the tape, you're like, oh, he's just there for quite a while. But yeah, he had no idea he was supposed to like leave frame after a while. I was like, I didn't even think about it. Yeah, almost killed Mark Duplass. But yeah, good for him. He's dedicated.
Yeah, that's what this country needs, Cody.
More Mark Duplasses. I think it's interesting that you talked about like, are they going to kill him? Are they not? In the movie, the whole thing, right? You go in, he gets cancer, and then they watch their favorite movie, which is called Death Punch, and it's about a friend, killing another friend, and him doing the whole thing. So I thought it was, I don't think it ever like. It kind of made its point of what it was doing, and it's a great way to foreshadow the story, but it also communicates what their friendship's like, right? They watch the movie, they reenact the barrel thing with the water. They do the fake fighting when they're sitting on the couch next to each other. So I thought it, it's simple, it's effective. It's a goodie.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is like it's a good movie. That I like. That I'm happy that I feel like Netflix nowadays. Like I feel like for a while Netflix tried to put out these like super high quality, like big budget, Oscar bait or like theater quality movies, and now it seems like because they're trying to cut budgets back, they're doing a lot more movies like this, where it's like, all right, let's give like a talented group of guys a few $1 million, like you said, and they're getting good movies out of it. You know what I'm saying? Good movies. You know, they're not like Apple out here being like, oh yeah, by the way, we made like 13 of the biggest movies ever, and you've never heard about them because you don't have an iPhone. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Wild out there.
I don't. Cody, give me a second. Apple TV sucks.
Oh, not Apple TV. Oh no. What did Apple TV ever do to you?
Everything, Cody. And nothing. They're just the worst.
Yeah. Well, fun fact, did you know that Death Punch was filmed just for this movie? So that is not a pre-existing martial arts movie. Which is kind of impressive when you look at it, because you're like, oh, they even did like the fake dubbing, the kind of hard to do dubbing of the lips and everything for it. So I thought that was actually very impressive, that they shot a kung fu movie just for this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I saw them in the credits and I was just thinking, like, are these guys like this? This is is this not a pre-existing movie? Because you normally wouldn't, credit the people in a background movie, right? In a movie,
right? You wouldn't. You would just give credit to the movie in the credits. Be like, hey, by the way, we used footage from this movie. And
how highly they're billed really makes you realize, like, yeah, there's really not a lot of.
There's like 6 people in this movie.
Yeah.
There's the doctor. There's the pharmacist. There's the 2 dudes. There's the 2 dudes in the martial arts movie, and there's like the motel lady.
There's Ninja 1 and Ninja 2.
Ninja 1 and Ninja 2, of course. I mean, this movie wouldn't be what it is without Ninja 1 and Ninja 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, look, I love this movie. Let's talk about Motel Lady.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what were your thoughts? Tell me about that scene. How did it go for you? Were you rooting for him? What were you, where were you at?
I felt it was a very interesting moment, right? Because I feel like and it goes with I think what they wanted the movie to be, right? Is that it would have been so easy, and I think in a lot of other movies that would have been played up for comedy of like the awkwardness, or like it could have easily just taken on a real like American Pie type vibe.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking about.
And the fact that they were like, no, so it's the dying guy, as he dubs himself later, is like, all right, I'm gonna peace out, and then her having like a real moment where she's like, hang out, and she's like, oh, referencing her husband, she's like, oh, he's all around, and I was like, are they about to be like, oh yeah, I put him in the water or something,
Yeah,
and
like a real crazy person vibe for
but no, it was like a real sweet, like she ran this place with her husband and she stays and does it, and she's like, I feel him with me, like I was like, oh, this is like. They didn't do all the easy jokes here, so I've got a lot of more respect for the movie there. And then like him being like, all right, I get it, him being like, all right, I'm just gonna head on out and all right, I'm gonna scoot on over out of here. But him just being like, I mean, in that moment, I just tell Tiffany, I was like, I don't know if I could seal the deal in that moment either. Like that's a rough emotional state to be in.
Yeah, for sure. And I also thought it just spoke to like his character's like loneliness, he's just like, I don't think he can do it, even if it wasn't in that state. But to your point, also like when you're in that headspace, but because, you see all these TV shows about the hot young people and it's like they hook up all the time. And isn't it cool? Like, like what's his name in How I Met Your Mother? And it's just like, isn't that all the cool guys? They're out here just banging around, we're out here, we're banging,
Yeah.
So I just thought it was really cool to be like, oh yeah, these adults that are in like, past middle age and, I don't know. I thought it was an interesting scene. It's not something you see very often, but I really like the characters. I like what they did with it. But yeah, I was sad he didn't get to do it. It's like, oh, he's there, he had a shot.
Yeah, but it would have felt, I don't know, like it wouldn't have felt with the movie. It would have kind of cheapened it, I think, right?
It wouldn't have made sense, but I'm just saying I felt bad for him,
Yeah, but that's the point. But like even job. The fact that like, because I feel like so many movies, right? They would have done it. It could have gone. It would have been Real American Pie. They didn't do that, and then they could have made her seem way crazier, and then be like, oh my gosh, it's crazy, lady. But no, they didn't. They made it like sweet, like, oh, okay, this is a little weird, but all right, whatever. You know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, them having their moment, and then him like, because you could, you know, like it plays up the fact that these are two weird dudes. Like these are two socially awkward adults that don't like other people. It's a big deal that they're friends with each other, which I'm sure you've encountered several. You know, like we both work in industries where we encounter like adults who are on the spectrum who are like incredibly smart and good at their job. But like if you send them an email with more than 2 sentences, you might have just ended their whole workday. Like you might have just stressed them right out of the job, you know? And so, you know, because as any, you know, college emotional studies professor will tell you, engineers are nerds and they're just, you know, they can't handle stuff. These guys aren't, you know, engineers, but, you know, I just like calling out how the disdain your college professor had for the engineers in your that one class. But I mean, I like, because, you know, it would have felt weird, but then even her just being like, oh, because you will see like there's a moment where she's like, oh, you're like, this is not gonna happen. Not like you can't do it or you're incapable of thinking about this kind of stuff, but just like, this is too fast. And like just kind of sitting there and comforting him and understanding that it's kind of what he needed in the moment. So I thought that was nice and sweet. And I liked that the movie had those funnier moments, but they were very real. Like I could see one of my friends being like, hey man, this is what's happening. I need you to kill me. And then us doing this whole thing and then having these exact kind of funny moments. Like me being like, having the like, no, I have more money than you. Your card's declined, sir. Gosh. And then shouting at the bank person on the phone and like that kind of stuff.
Oh man. Oh. Like, and then even like them fighting over the box, you know, when they have like the little pink box and he's like, well, you know, I bought the pink box, right? Like I bought them and he's like, I bought them and I said, yeah, but I said I was paying for it, you know, like, I don't know. I really like the depiction of their friendship. And I don't know, maybe think of like college where you have all these like proximity friends where it's like, hey, we're all just like college people. We're bros and we live with each other. So we're hanging out, I guess, you know, I had a lot of good friends in college that it was just like, oh, we're roommates. And so we're buddies, you know, made a lot of good friends that way.
It's like the Family Guy joke of the guy friends where it's like, it's like a trailer. It's like guy friends. A computer made us roommates in college, and now we're friends. Guy friends.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
But yeah,
Paddleton. You mentioned something about Paddleton. Do you want to break down were you disappointed? Not more Paddleton matches?
No, I mean, because again, I feel like the naming it Paddleton that was their thing. That's how they became friends. You know, was them inventing this game together, because it's basically, what does he say? Because I was thinking racquetball, but he's paddleball, but you're trying to get it into a bin.
Yeah.
And that's the game.
Yeah.
That's it. So I liked, like early on, they had some of those slow motion shots. Like that's kind of how they opened it, was them going out and saying like, who served last time? Your serve. It's your serve. You know, and then like the slow-mo of it almost going in and them like, oh, like freaking out and stuff. Like, I feel like that was really all the setup you needed for these guys and their friendship, because I thought it was going to be them becoming friends. I wasn't expecting to go into it with them already being friends. And just, you know, them being a couple of weird dudes, you know. But I liked that it's like them we've all had those friends where we're like, we invented a thing, but it's like, what did you invent? Well, you take a quesadilla and you sprinkle cheese and then a little paprika on it, and then you mold it, and it's called a scooter. It's like, so you made a quesadilla. You made a quesadilla is what you've made. And but that's your thing, you know, and you call it a scooter.
In college, we played this game called Ninja, and you go to the playground, and everyone is on the play, like the jungle gym, and you can't fall off the jungle gym. And then there's one person with their eyes closed trying to catch people on the jungle gym. So it's kind of like Marco Polo mixed with like bouldering and like rock climbing. It is one of the most fun games I've ever played in my life. So hazardous because you have someone blindly running around a jungle gym trying to tag people. And I mean, you have people like, we talked about planking and owling. You have people like planking and owling and trying to be really quiet on these like perched on top of monkey bars, And anyway, a lot of fun. Weird to describe. I don't think I'll ever play that game again in my life because I'll never be 20 years old again where I can just like crack my shin on a slide and bounce back up, But we did it.
Cody, I got two very important things here. First off, I want you to repeat the first two words of that little spiel there. Just
no, I don't remember.
In college.
In college.
It sounds like a high school, middle school. No, that's in college. Here's the second mind-blowing fact. Okay, because
these are repressed Christian children. All right, they're easily 7 years behind a normal American boy or girl.
Because we went to the same school. You finished. I left because I'm too cool. All right.
Yeah, that's true.
But we both spent time there. All right, around the same time. Would it shock you to know that I've seen people playing that?
Yes.
Watched a dude with his eyes closed, full sprint, and get just clotheslined harder than I've ever seen someone get clotheslined by full sprinting into like, I don't know, it was a monkey bars or something. I don't know. It was about face height and he hit it full run. And I think he was fine. And it's like, how are you not broken?
Yeah.
Like me and my roommates were even just like, what the heck, dude? Like, this kid just popped up. But I'm
telling you, it's that's like some of the most fun I've ever had in my life. Playing that incredibly dangerous game where you tell people to close their eyes and run around your jungle gym.
It really lays out for me that we were in very different social circles at that school.
I was the guy playing Ninja and you were the dude looking on in bewilderment, watching people play Ninja.
I was the dude who, friend of friends, were tossing drugs out of the window when the cops were showing up. All right. Like, that's the social circles I was in. And you were out there like, hey guys, close your eyes. We're going to play Ninja. Like, Cody, you were a good sweet boy and I'm proud of you. All right.
Oh yeah. I know how to keep a ruler too. Oh man. So I don't know. I give this movie a full recommendation on my end. Is there anything you want to talk about before we, slap a rating on it?
I mean, I'd recommend it too. I think it's fantastic, especially because it's 90 minutes. Don't be like Kaylin. Speaking of Kaylin, who has never called, how dare you bring his name up? He's not once since I got married. He's not once. Nothing to me.
Every 22 months, he gives me a phone call. We have a nice conversation.
Here's the thing, and I just accepted this. Kaylin doesn't like me, and that's fine. All right, I've moved on with my life. Okay, is it because I was
telling you
possibly?
I think you and Kaylin, if you guys lived next door to each other, like in this movie, I could very well see this movie playing out with you two. I mean, you guys both do engineering stuff too. Like, I mean, you're right there.
Yeah. Here's the problem, Cody, is it fair to say that I bullied Kaylin on occasion?
I don't know.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he doesn't listen to our podcast. He's out here making, I don't know, the next Jupiter rocket or something. I don't know. Like he's out here doing real stuff. Like of the three of us, he's the only success. Okay. Because he didn't get tied down. Okay.
That's
just
true,
like these two dudes. They're out here living their best life. But so in conclusion, don't be like Kaylin and be like, I'm not going to watch this. I'm going to watch 6 hours of a TV show I've already watched on Netflix instead. All right. Just watch the 90-minute movie. Okay? You got time. You got time.
You can do it.
You're out here. You're making all this money. You're a single dude living the life, renting a room from your buddies.
That's the dream. It's the dream right there.
That's the dream. Okay. But
Ninja.
Yeah, I mean, I'd recommend it. I liked it. It's like the most realistic road trip movie I've ever seen, but also a guy commits suicide.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk before I give my rating, I do want to talk about the scene a little more because it's, it's the point of the whole movie, as they get to it. they have to break up the pills. I think, oh man, they're breaking up the pills too. And they're like, all right, so you take this and then you wait an hour. And like, well, we really should have done this an hour ago when we started breaking up the pill. I liked all of that. They do it. They're in the bed. He's like, I don't want to do it on the couch. I don't want to do it on the floor. Should I do it here? I'll be closer to the door if I do it here. They go through the whole thing. It's all this stuff that you might not think about until it's time to do it,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just thought for me, it was a very powerful scene. You get the fake out of, is he going to do it? Is he not? He does it.
The water level changing drastically in the cup.
I missed it. I didn't catch it, but
it's like a full cup versus like a shot in different scenes.
Yeah. Well, he also he lays down. He's like, I'm going to lay down now. And they talk a little bit. I mean, what was your reaction to the scene? Did you think it was well done? Was it powerful for you? Was it just, how'd it go?
I mean,
so I'll tell you, I cried. All right. I did it. I shed a tear.
It got me, like I was choking up because I felt very like real, like how it would go down, where it's like, it's not necessarily him. Because I get it. I've known guys who have had cancer and reached that point of like, you're gone, you're going to die. And I've known one person that was like, I'm going to fight to the bitter end, pump me full of chemicals. Mm-hmm. I want to waste away in this hospital bed. Like if there's a slight chance of survival. And then I knew one guy that he reached the point where they were like, you could survive, but you're probably like, you're not going to. Like realistically, you should plan that you're going to die. And he said, all right, switch me, because they can switch you, to pills where it's like, you can basically be normal until you've hit the point where it's like, you're going to die within days. And you just fall off a cliff basically. And so that's what he did. And I got to say, between the two, he seemed a lot happier. His family seemed a lot happier.
Yeah.
And I'm not I'd say I would never recommend one or the other. I think it's an individual thing, but I've always thought if I was ever in that case, that might be the way I would go. Is like, I'd rather be comfortable for 6 weeks than slowly dying for 6 months,
Yeah. I read this really interesting article a few years back, and it was some dude who was like, yeah, I'm going to euthanize myself at 75 or 80 or some age. And he was just like, I'm just going to do it. I don't want all my savings to go to my hospital care. I want it to go to my family. Like I've seen people take the hard way and go down with terminal illness and just like, just old age, you're going to die eventually. So I thought it was interesting, but he wrote this whole thing. It was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to let myself die at that age. I was like, that is, it's a fascinating thing. And anyway, I thought it was very well played out. Like you said, very realistic. I mean, he even kind of has like the death rattle breath, where he does like the stuttering breath and it's like, okay, he's done. And, just seeing Ray Romano's reaction, and just when Mark Duplass is like, I just want to tell you, like I love you, and even before that, when he's like, I shouldn't have taken those pills, like he drinks it, he sits there for just like 30 seconds and he's like, I shouldn't have done it. Like, I'm scared, it's just, I thought it was a really well done scene. It, and just seeing those characters go through that. And, I don't know. I thought a very interesting movie, very kind of unique. And I got to queue up some more Duplass movies because I thought they were great.
Yeah, I mean he's good in The League. I don't know if you've ever seen that show. It's way different tone.
Things.
It's about fantasy football league. It is.
I know
hilarious.
Paul Scheer and Jason Mantzoukas because they do a podcast I listen to. But
it's a funny show. I loved it. I watched it. But yeah. I mean, it was a powerful scene. Like I realized, as we were there, I was just like, man, like. I definitely I would lose it at that moment if I was the other guy, as they dubbed it.
Yeah,
like,
the dying guy and the other guy. Oh. Yeah.
I would probably cry in that moment, but I do think I would be like, I think it would go down very similarly, right? If you think about all right, we're trying to act normal, and then there's some losing it in the moment, but then it, because the drugs, right? It's the same as if was it in Washington where a doctor will do it? They'll give you they basically just give you lethal injection, just like they give death row people.
Yeah.
But it just puts you to sleep and then you have a heart attack. That's how it works. Here's the thing. Here's what I would be afraid of, Cody. Let's talk about real talk here. All right. Because
let's do it.
If it's done wrong, which I'd be more afraid of this with the lethal injection.
Yeah.
Then you just have one of the worst heart attacks. But if they don't knock you out enough, you wake up and it's incredibly painful and doesn't kill you. That's what I would be terrified of. I'd be like, I'm going to wake up having a heart attack, feeling like my chest is being crushed in a vice. And that would be like, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to fall asleep. Just hit me in the head with a bat as hard as you can. If I start to wake up, just crush my skull like a grape, dude. Like, do not take me down. I feel like I'm not going out like this. So just be ready for that, Cody. I'm gonna.
All right.
I was saying
I'll be the guy with the hammer. I'll do it. Yeah.
You sit at the foot of the bed with the shotgun pointed at me, ready for me to pop up. All right, it just take me out
because it'd be like a zombie movie. I've played The Last of Us parts 1 and 2. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you know what to do. All right.
Oh man. Speaking of which, Last of Us TV show. Would you be surprised to know it's good?
No,
I just seen just the pilots come out, but I mean, the pilot is just like the first 2 hours of the game, but it's very well done.
Yeah. Would you be surprised? No, I haven't seen it.
No, I would not. Yeah. Anyway, all right. My rating for this movie is hard to say. It's hard. I'm struggling. Do you want to go first?
Sure. I'll go first.
Do you want to go same time?
I give this one an A. I think it is like it set out to do a thing, and I think it did it. It nailed it perfectly. So it doesn't get the A+ because it's not a movie that like I would watch over and over again. But I think for what it was trying to do, it nailed it.
I'm teetering, and I do this, but like, I don't know. I might just have to give this one an A+. And like you said, it sets out to do what it does. It does it very well. But also, it is very much a Cody movie. And so I think that's what's going to put it over for me because I just enjoyed it so much and thought it was so good. So that's where I'm at. That's what I have to say. I am curious to know the Rotten Tomatoes. Let me pull it up really before we just wrap up and leave these people.
Oh, don't forget, we got to do your device. All right. So don't you forget now.
Paddleton, it's sitting out here, sitting pretty with a 89 and an 86. So, I mean, hey, that's pretty solid, but they're wrong. It's an A+, at least an A, as we discovered. That's the facts. Those are the opinions. Tyler, will you bless me with the device? Will you divine the film?
I will divine the film. All right. Oh, gosh. I tried to move it, but I can't move it because there's a pop-up. All right. You want me to share my screen? You want me to just do it? What are we doing?
Just do it because it's such a pain to
get
your screen up.
It divine the film. Some like it hot.
Hey, I've never seen it. Did you know that? This thing has been on my watch list for about 6 years. So we're really doing me a favor here.
And I'm just going to move it over to this list here.
Awesome.
And then remove it from that one.
Are you excited? Are you so thrilled?
I'm so ready. Cody, do you want to give us like a little tease of what Some Like It Hot is?
I think it's a movie about some dudes that end up doing a show with Marilyn Manson, and it's a comedy, and they dress in drag, and I don't know. I forget. I haven't seen it, so that's as much as I know about it. And I forget who the actors are, but it's like well-known comedians of the time.
Is this the 1959 movie?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Marilyn Monroe's in it. Like, it's not like an actress playing Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe is there, and she's doing the movie.
Cody,
this is not Ana de Armas dressed as Marilyn Monroe. So this is the real effing deal.
Here's the blurb, all right? After two male musicians witness a mob hit, they flee the state in an all-female band disguised as women, but further complications set in.
Lovely. Super excited. I've heard it's a goodie. So we'll see how it goes.
It looks black and white, which we've done several of at this point.
Well, we'll just have to see how we do.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening. We're on, the podcast places. You can share us and review us. You can also find us on social media at Opinion Havers. You can, if you hate these movies we're picking, just tell us to pick better ones. Give us your what movies do you want us to do? What even you come up with a good idea. All right. We'll see you next time. Watch movies
and have opinions.
Oh, do you hear Bendy freaking out?
No.
She's not happy. She's locked in here. She wanted so bad to be in here with me. And now that she's in here with me, she's like, that door is shut. I hate this.
She's about to.
You know what's funny?
End it all.
Bailey doesn't like it when I'm locked in here. Bendy doesn't like it when any doors are shut. Boog doesn't like it when any doors are shut. Our animals, they're free range. All right. You know what I'm saying?
like ostriches.
They could go any. Oh yeah, we're gonna get a pet ostrich.